Good evening and welcome to Claremont, New Hampshire for tonight's regular season football finale between the Hillsboro-Deering Hopkinton RedHawks and the Stevens Cardinals. Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy Stout, joined by Scott Quimby. And Scott, we've seen these Stevens Cardinals earlier this year, a defeat against Newport, a big rivalry game. This game is also important, could fight for playoff position.
Yeah, there's three teams here sitting at 5-3 in the standings right now heading to the playoffs. Last week here, we're seeing both of these teams tonight, the Cardinals and the RedHawks at 5-3, and then Monadnock sitting at 5-3 as well, playing tonight. They're playing Kearsarge, who's winless so far. I mean, there's a good chance Monadnock's going to win, which would mean this game is really for the 5th seed to play Monadnock, but it's still very important because you don't want to play one of the top 3 seeds right now.
Yeah, so this one should be a good one. Like I said, we've seen Stevens. Who should we watch for? They're doing the seniors and the starting lineups. It's going to be a good one. Who should we watch for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Stevens is certainly a run offense. I mean, Keegan McAllister, senior running back, playing his last regular season game of his high school career anyways. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, over 3,400 yards in his high school career. He's probably going to be their bell cow on offense today.
All right, and for the RedHawks, we were watching in warm-ups. They got a QB. He's got a strong arm. We should see him throw the ball.
Yeah, we didn't see them this season yet. We didn't know much about him coming in, but watching Mike Oberheim in warm-ups, he was throwing the ball to the end zone 40, 45 yards in the air, and we're in horrible windy conditions, and he was still putting them on his receivers right on the money. So I would look maybe to see them take some shots the way he was throwing the ball.
It's an important game for both these teams. It's the Stevens Cardinals, Hillsboro-Deering Hopkinton RedHawks, the YCN Game of the Week, coming up next. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, as we are set for kickoff here. Cardinals in the black jerseys with the white helmets will be kicking off. The RedHawks receiving in the red pants and the white jerseys. And a nice little run back on a short kick. We've seen a number of those this year. And obviously with the elements tonight, Scott, you mentioned it in the opening, this wind is really going to wreak havoc on a lot of these plays.
I mean, it's pretty consistently between 8 and 10 miles per hour, I think. But, I mean, there's definitely some huge gusts. I mean, we've seen roofs blowing off around here and everything. I mean, it is a cold, frigid, and windy November night. Hits are going to hurt a lot. It's definitely going to play an effect on this game.
So we got first down and 10 for the RedHawks. Ball's going to be spotted. Looks like it's going to be just about at the 38-yard line. And that's where they will open up their first drive. As we mentioned, this team, we might see a lot of passing. The first play is the pitch off the left side and scampering across the first down mark. It might have gotten a first down. Not quite sure. Kobe Quiet was the ball carrier. They're going to spot him. And it's going to be a first down, so a nice little run by the Cardinals. Excuse me, by the RedHawks.
First down run on the first play of the game, 10 yards or so. You can't beat that. It's a good way to come out. We did, like we said, we're assuming they're going to pass a lot. We haven't seen them play this year. Certainly, Oberheim in warm-ups looked outstanding, even with the wind. He was dropping dimes 40 yards. So, yeah, we'll see. I think this team might have a few trick plays up their sleeve here.
And that ball is fumbled, though. The first play they need to figure out is hopefully holding on to it, and they do. And I'm not sure who came up with it, but Oberheim was right there, so they lose a yard. They'll bring up second down and 11. For over 11 years, Bubba's Bar and Grill has been providing hungry patrons with high-quality food and friendly service with a mission of delivering a remarkable experience to every visitor. And Bubba likes to remind you, we're having a lot of fun. Second down and 11 here. Kind of a bunch formation with one split out wide left. Man goes in motion, and that handoff looks like it was to the up man, and he is immediately brought down in the backfield for a big loss.
Yeah, that was Jack Morrill that Oberheim kind of faked a little option play out there and then tried to sneak a draw in the middle and immediately stopped.
Yeah, lost for another 4 yards, and that's going to bring up third down and 15.
That's a good job by Stevens there, staying home, not biting for the movement to one side and making the play.
Max Costello is the wide receiver here that is on the near side left. As we see a couple of running backs, this one will be faked, and the toss deep, and it's overthrown. A defender in the area was Owen Taylor. That'll be incomplete. Oberheim incomplete on that one. That'll bring up fourth down. And
yeah, the receiver was actually stopped there for a second. I'm not sure if it was the correct route run or some sort of miscommunication between and Oberheim.
And luckily for the Redhawks, the defender, like I said, Owen Taylor, also the quarterback for the Stevens Cardinals, he wasn't able to get to it. So Redhawks here with a punt, and back to receive and return the punt, number 24, Keegan McAllister. He's standing just about at his 21-yard line. And the punt is away by number 44, Charles Beach. And that takes a nice Redhawks bounce. That'll go inside the 20-yard line, and that is where the Cardinals will take over. We'll take a break. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, Stevens Cardinals. Get our first look at their offense. And that handoff from Taylor up the middle, not really going to gain anything, maybe a yard. See where they spot it. Number 17, Matthew Jones, the senior running back. As you heard in the opening, the senior night here. And this will most likely be the final home game, as we talked about, Scott, in the open, where Monadnock is playing down at Kearsarge. And we saw Kearsarge last week. They struggle. They have yet to get a win. So if Monadnock wins that game, they should have the fourth seed.
And obviously, depending on how, the playoffs, work out, and they could come back
second
here.
Round,
but odds are this is their final home game. And odds are they're not going to be at home next week because of the way, Monadnock's been playing and who they're playing. So, a little extra motivation maybe for Stevens?
Yeah, you'd like to think so, in front of their home crowd. Big night to end the season, and that one is Owen Taylor. It looked like maybe it was a designed run. He kind of hesitated a little bit. He maybe gained a couple more yards. And that'll bring up third down and maybe about 6 yards. As we are 8:30 to go here in quarter number one. Redhawks with the opening possession. They went 3 and out, punted away, and here are the Cardinals facing third down for their first offensive possession. Taylor in the shotgun. He's got his man, number 24, McAllister, running out to the left side, and Taylor is immediately pressured. But we've seen this before. He doesn't mind taking off, and he's able to evade a tackler too, but I think he actually goes backwards, and now it's going to bring fourth down.
That initial hit kind of knocked him sideways, then he started running lateral with the field, and eventually the Redhawks caught up to him and brought him down for a fourth down, and when you're back here, you got to punt, so this will end their drive.
Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. We will choose the team member that had the greatest impact on today's game. And right now, punters have had the biggest impact on the game, as we'll see the punt from the Cardinals. Snap is just brought down, and then he kind of had to rush the kick, so it's a little squib off his side of his foot and doesn't go too far, maybe to the 44-yard line of the Redhawks.
Not helping matters. You're kicking into the wind there, too, and, obviously that's really going to set up some good field possession here for the Redhawks.
Redhawks football, when we come back, you're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby. Redhawks take over at the Stevens Cardinals 44 as their second possession. Again, they're going to stretch it to the outside. We've seen that run. This time it's just to the other side. It's Colby Quiet. He really goes nowhere. Maybe a loss of 2 yards.
I mean, it was essentially a reverse of the first play of the game that got him 10, 11 yards and a first down. But this one Stevens was ready for and swallowed him up before he could even get back to the line of scrimmage.
So they'll bring up second down and about 12 now. Maybe 13. Again, the man goes in motion. We've seen that a lot. The Redhawks won't be afraid to have motion, and barreling through the line of scrimmage, kind of coming out of the pile. And again, the first down is quiet, and a big gain there up to the 32-yard line, and a first down for the Redhawks.
He is a big, strong, physical runner, not quiet at all on the football field.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
The cold out here is not getting to Scott's brain. He is right on top of things. But just wait till the fourth quarter, then I'll get to you.
Later in the game, the brain will be frozen up and things won't come through so clearly.
So first down and 10 from the 32-yard line. 6:40 to play here in quarter number one. Again, the handoff immediately going to Quiet, and he's going to break free, cutting to the right side, and he's finally pushed out of bounds, but not before a big gain, and he's inside the 10-yard line.
The first few tries, they tried to take it to the outside, and these last two, they went straight up the middle, and they were their best two plays of the game so far, and that includes their 10-yard first down on their first play of the game. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough team here for Stevens to stop the run.
Today's game is being brought to you in part by Ramonto's Brick Oven Pizza and so much more in Claremont. Always fresh, always delicious. In addition to airing on our 3 TV stations, all YCN games are posted at ycnnow.com. So officially a first and goal at the 9-yard line. Redhawks looking to punch it in, and again they give it to Quiet, and he barrels over a defender. And he is in for the touchdown, the 9-yard touchdown run from Quiet.
So just power running there by Quiet. He's running people over. Very strong kid.
So Quiet with the 9-yard touchdown run, and he's on the board. The Redhawks strike first, go up 6-0. We'll have the extra point coming up, and that will be number 44, Charles Beach, also the punter. We saw him punt a nice one, pinning the Stevens Cardinals deep. They turned it over went 3 and out. And then the short field helped the Redhawks. And that extra point is good. So 6:26 to play here in the first. Redhawks lead the Cardinals 7-0. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby as the Redhawks strike first. They go up 7-0 on the 9-yard touchdown run by senior Colby Quiet. Kick now, fielded at the 15-yard line by the Cardinals. Got a seam up the middle, and that's number 24, Keegan McAllister, getting a nice return, and he's back to the 42-yard line, and that's where the Cardinals will take over.
Yeah, speaking of Keegan McAllister, they didn't really utilize him too much in that first drive, and he's the one we mentioned in the promo with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, over 3,400 total career rushing yards in his high school career. Let's see if they can feature him a little bit more in this drive.
Yeah, and we didn't really see, obviously, they didn't have a lot of success the first time, and we did see Owen Taylor. He likes to run the football, and he will be set up in the shotgun, and then as the snap is bobbled, but I think they're going to have some sort of penalty flag and maybe an illegal shift. It looked like maybe there was some shifting as the ball was being snapped. Let's see what the call is here on the field. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Echo Communications. Call them for all your printing needs. Our YCN game next week will feature a quarterfinal matchup in the New Hampshire playoffs, always premiering Sundays at noon.
Yeah, so, I mean, a bit of a fortunate false start there. I mean, it was a terrible snap in the dirt, and the ball was loose. Honestly, I don't think Owen Taylor even had it secured when the whistle blew. He was still trying to wrestle around on the ground to pick it up. So, yeah, that could actually work out good for Stevens.
Yeah, they were going to lose the 5 yards anyway. This time, at least they get the down over. And that one is McAllister as he is running to the outside right in front of us. Gets the 5 yards back and much more. It looks like get all the way up to the 49-yard line. That'll bring up second down and about 3 yards.
And you can see why he's got over 3,400 career yards. He had a spin move. First he used his speed to get the outside, a little elusiveness with a spin move, and then fought a couple defenders for an extra few yards there and, really made this a second and manageable.
So it'll be second down, ball at the 49. Looks like they had to get almost to the 48-yard line of the Redhawks, and Taylor again in the shotgun. Or no, excuse me, that's McAllister taking the direct snap. And he is going to move the pile forward, and he'll get the first down, it appears.
You think the play stopped dead. It looked dead at the line of scrimmage, and somehow he worked his way forward to get the first down.
For Cardinals.
As the crowd is into it here on senior night, despite the cold weather. Ball is spotted at the 47-yard line. And as you mentioned, Scott, with that wind, and it does appear that they are going kind of a swirling wind at the moment. And a high snap, Taylor is able to fall on it as the defender made it into the backfield pretty quickly. That was number 55, Tyler Allen. Yeah, Taylor just covered it up.
That's the second bad snap we've seen. And going back to the Newport game we saw them play, they had a few bad snaps in that game as well that caused some heartache. So that's something to keep an eye out here for. Especially with these cold conditions, your hands go numb. It's hard to get a good feel for the ball and get a good snap sometimes.
And then on the other end, where you're the quarterback, if it's a little bit higher and slips right through your hands, as it did there, because Taylor kind of had it, but then it slipped through his hands, and now it's going to bring up second down and 19. Taylor by himself, he'll drop back, but 4 white jerseys are coming at him. And that ball will be tipped and falls incomplete. And Scott, that's the play we saw against Newport. They let the defense come in. They threw the screen pass. That time it didn't work.
I mean, that screen pass was just a hope and a prayer. I mean, he never had 8 who was throwing to Quintel Bicknell. And, there was 4 defenders right around him. And it almost looked at first, I didn't even see Bicknell. There was such a swarm there. I thought maybe it was just an intentional grounding where he threw it into the line. But then Bicknell did emerge, so very good pressure there and well-defended screen pass by the RedHawks.
And if you're the Cardinals there, you know that's the right play, but you have to hold your blocks for at least a second before you release.
Correct. I mean,
they kind of let him release it before Taylor had a chance.
You got to actually chip the guys when you just let them go full speed ahead. I mean, the quarterback doesn't have a chance to get his receiver, and the linemen don't have time to set up their blocks downfield.
So it's going to be 3rd and long, 4:50 to play. The Cardinals want to talk it over. We'll take a break as well. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. 3rd and long. Cardinals see what they've come up with here. Taylor in the shotgun. Once again, McAllister in motion. So 2 wide receivers on the right side. Actually, 3 wide receivers, and then one jumped a little early. That was Lucas Mudge. Must have misheard the snap count. Jumped it, and that'll bring up 3rd and even longer.
Nothing's lonelier than when you jump off sides as a receiver. You turn your head and look, and everybody's still standing there, and you're running downfield.
So the spot is at the 38-yard line of the Cardinals.
It's going to be a long 3rd down here. I mean, you almost have to do this conservatively. You can't try a huge chunk play. I wouldn't imagine if you turn the ball over here or lose more yards, you're going to be giving the RedHawks the ball, back in good field positions.
Well, we'll see what they do. They could throw it deep, and then if it gets intercepted, it's like a punt. You just don't want to get sacked here. And Taylor is going to kind of air it out. He gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. That was number 2, Alex Taylor. And they're going to spot it about at...
8 of 14 on the
looks
play.
Like it will be right at about the 47-yard line and 4th and 10.
I mean, that's about as successful as you can hope for there. I mean, you by gaining those 14 yards are putting the RedHawks offense back 14 yards and making their offense work harder. So, with the conditions we have today, the wind, the cold, we saw the RedHawks drive downfield last time, but I think this could end up being some sort of a field possession game. I mean, it's going to be tough to especially get the ball in the air.
So the punt is away, a much better punt this time, still angling towards the sidelines. It doesn't take a great bounce, kind of hits right out of bounds, and that'll be at the 30-yard line. And it looks like that's where the RedHawks will take over. So we'll see what their offense can do. As you mentioned, their first possession with a 3-and-out, and then they get the short field, go for the punt, or go get the touchdown, and basically that was all on the back of number 32, Colby Quiet, and I'm sure we'll see more of him. As you mentioned, they're going to want to keep it on the ground here. With this wind swirling around, 4:02 to play in the first quarter. See what the RedHawks do.
I mean, right now, we certainly saw Oberheim in warm-ups that he could throw the ball, but there's no sense of testing that with the wind and the conditions right now, as long as not so quiet's running the way he is.
Well, and like you mentioned, the first couple runs were to the outside. Looked like the Cardinals had kind of pinched those out and covered the edges. Then they start going up the middle, and it was basically gain after big gain. And this time, kind of a little bit of the middle as it goes to the outside, but not all the way outside. And I believe that might have been number 24, Jack Morrill.
Even Erdelman there, and that was just a pure speed run, a sweep to the outside, and
up to the 48-yard line.
Great job by this Red Hawk offensive line so far running the football.
Yeah, once Morrill had the corner, he didn't have to go too much more out wide. He kind of just cut it upfield, and a nice gain brings them to the 48-yard line. And it's a big gainer, first down and 10, inside 4 minutes to play here. Redhawks lead 7-0 over the Cardinals. Final regular season game, and once again, quiet up the middle. Sheds two would-be tackler. He's got one man to beat, heading to the end zone around the corner, and he's in for the score.
Colby, not so quiet, does it again. What an impressive start for him. Another run right up the middle. He's kind of playing the up back there, and you saw some motion with the tailback going to the right, and then they hit Colby with a draw right up the middle, and the seas parted, and he, for as strong and big as he is, he's got some speed, and he beat everyone to the corner and was on his way.
Breakaway speed just outdistancing Lucas Mudge, the senior who was trying to catch him. Couldn't quite do it. The extra point is good, and the Redhawks have doubled their lead. 14-0 is where we stand after the 52-yard touchdown run by Colby Quiet. 3:26 to play in the first quarter. We'll step aside on the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. First quarter, 3:26 to play, and the Redhawks lead the Cardinals 14-0. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby here on a chilly November evening. Claremont, New Hampshire. McAllister will take the kickoff, and he does some nice juking and makes some nice moves before he's tackled at the 40, and then a flag comes in behind the play.
A little late flag, too. I'd be curious to see what this is. Heck of a run by McAllister, though. They need to really focus getting him the ball right now. Tough start here for Stevens. The Redhawks have come out running the ball strong. 2 out of 3 drives, long touchdown drives. Stevens has to find an answer on that, and they got to get some points up. They're certainly not out of this thing. It's 2 very evenly matched teams, and
from the spot of the foul, that's going to back them
what
up.
Was the, what's
I believe they're going to call that a holding call, and it's going to be from maybe the 30-yard line is where they're 35-yard line, so they'll mark it back to the 25, and that's where the Cardinals will take over. So, in essence, 15, 20-yard penalty is a big one.
And the flag came in kind of late, too.
Yeah,
so
it did seem like it was.
I can't imagine it had too much to do with the successful return, so that's unfortunate.
So now Owen Taylor will be under center. See if the Cardinals offense can finally get something going, handing it off up the middle, and they really have just had no success against this defensive line of the Redhawks.
Well, that's the story of the game so far is the Redhawks, both offensive and defensive line, which features a lot of the same players. They've kind of been overpowering Stevens so far, and Stevens just needs to find a little something here.
2nd and 8.
So give him a couple yard gain. 2nd down and 8. Cardinals clearly taking their time, trying to find something, trying to find an offensive play that maybe gets them a chunk play, maybe gets them some momentum, gets the hands in one of their speedsters, and we've seen McAllister in motion. And this time it's thrown out to the right side here in front of us to Lucas Mudge. And Mudge can't quite get that one. That's a little overthrown. And
3rd down.
Yeah,
trying to find something here.
Mudge didn't have a chance. That was a little over his head, but it was a clever play call. And Mudge was behind his corner, so if that pass was hit, he could have found some room down the sideline and gained a little extra yardage there after the catch.
Well, it's 3rd and manageable here, so it's 3rd and 8. 2:29 to go. Cardinals looking to pick up a first down. They've really struggled on the offensive side of the football. Slow start, number of penalties. So they're looking for anything positive as Taylor has his man, and that's McAllister wide open down the sidelines. His defender might have fallen down, and after the catch and run, he's across the 50. First down, Cardinals.
Huge gain there, and credit to Owen Taylor. He had pressure, and he stood in there with defenders in his face. It wasn't a perfect pass, as the pressure clearly affected it, but fortunately for him, McAllister was able to get open.
And the defender on that play, Jack Morrill, he kind of had slipped, and so you wonder if coming out of the break and out of his route, Morrill just kind of slipped on the turf. End of the season, it's been a long season on this field, kind of in the middle of the field where they play between the 40s. Maybe just not good footing. So a big gain there, but nice job by the Cardinals to get that first down. And then Taylor with an RPO, and he is going to be fumbling that football.
Owen Taylor on the carry ball.
And will it be Red Hawk football?
The Red Hawks seem to think so. It was a successful run at first for Taylor. He had pretty good yardage, but the ball was punched out, and the Red Hawks will recover.
Yeah, so they are going to say Red Hawk football. It was kind of on the far side of the field from us and right in front of the Red Hawk bench, but yeah, immediately you saw the cheering. And
Taylor's coming off the field. He didn't seem to think it was necessarily a fumble, but it was tough to tell from our vantage point.
So that'll bring up first down. Tough break there for the Cardinals. Good defense from the Red Hawks, forcing the fumble and then diving on it, and they'll take over now. First down and 10 from about the 43-yard line. And now we'll see the big drop back from Oberheim. He throws it up there, tipped nicely, and then falls incomplete. Alex Taylor with the defensive pass.
Heck of a job there by Taylor getting up and knocking that play down.
Flag on the play.
The receiver did have him beat. The ball didn't exactly come out smooth, but like we've said many times, the wind here is brutal today, and it's going to be tough to throw those passes downfield, even if Oberheim was throwing dimes in warm-ups.
And there's going to be a penalty roughing the passer on the Cardinals. So after a nicely defended pass, the 15-yard penalty added on after that play, and that is just frustrating. Your coach Paul Silva, as you had a nice defensive play and then you give up a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, even before that, you had a couple nice offensive plays and then fumbled it. So, momentum is certainly not going Stevens' way right now, and hopefully they can make a big play for themselves and make a football game out of this.
They're at the 42-yard line already of the Cardinals, and once again the handoff off the right side. Quiet maybe gets a couple of yards, and clock continuing to move here inside 2 minutes, and we've seen all Redhawks tonight. The first couple scores, Colby Quiet, 9-yard touchdown run, and then a booming 52-yard touchdown run to make it 14-0. That's where we stand with 1:40 to play in the first quarter. Redhawks have had all they wanted on the offensive side, and then just then the defensive takeaway gives them nice positioning, and before you know it, they're already across the 50. Well, if you're the Redhawks, you got to really like what's happening so far. And again, the handoff up the middle. Not a huge gain, but enough. It just seems like every time they're getting that forward push on the offensive line, as you mentioned, just enough.
I mean, we've seen it with Quiet a few times when he was the up back, and there we saw another handoff to an up back. I mean, they're just doing these quick turnarounds, and the running back's going right at the line before the ball even is basically snapped. So it's tough for the defense to really, make a play and see where the play is going, especially the linebackers. They're too far off the line in order to get there in time.
This 3rd and 4 play is snuffed out. A little trickery there, as it was kind of a receiver jet sweep coming from the right side, and he kind of did a little inside handoff. Maybe gained a yard, and that brings up 4th down. And you got to imagine 4 down territory.
Yeah,
sense. It's 4 and 2. 4th and 2.
Absolutely 4th down territory, especially with the wind. I mean, there's a punt. We've seen some bad punts already. You might as well go for it. Yeah. Certainly not kicking a field goal.
And it looks like as the clock winds down, hitting about 10 seconds to play, it'll be maybe the end of the quarter. See if they get a playoff here, as not taking a lot of rush to get up there, kind of taking their time.
We don't have the benefit of a play clock. I do see a flag on the play.
So it is going to be a flag on the play, a delay of game.
0.6 seconds.
So they must have just mistimed the calculation, and
yeah, I mean,
that seems a little odd.
As I mentioned, there's no play clock on the field here, so it's certainly not an easy task when the clocks are that close together That's an unfortunate break there. You think the coach would have a little bit of communication with the ref keeping time.
Right.
But now they have to punt here rather than go for it. And who knows, maybe that was their idea all along.
That's true. So they'll be back to punting now, and the kick is away from the 50-yard line as the quarter comes to an end. And
Heck
this
of a
ball,
punt.
yeah, nice punt. It went in the air about 50 yards, and that'll be a touchback. So the Cardinals will take over to start the second quarter. They trail 14-0 versus the RedHawks. They're watching the YCN Game of the Week. You're watching the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters' 3-time award-winning YCN Game of the Week. Today we feature the Cardinals of Stevens hosting the RedHawks of Hopkinton Hillsboro-Deering High Schools. The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Top Stitch Embroidery, the best for your team, and so much more. MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948. And Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice, providing independence for patients and peace of mind for families. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist. La Valley Building Supply, 10 retail lumber yards serving New England for over 55 years. Ramontos in Claremont, always fresh, always delicious. Mascoma Savings Bank, with no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in our community. Bubba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, where Bubba wants you to know we're having a lot of fun. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. Welcome back. Second quarter about to get underway here in Claremont, New Hampshire. The Stevens Cardinals, and the ball is fumbled. Looks like McAllister maybe picked it up, but he's going to be dropped for a big loss. And after that punt, starting at the 20 and holding the RedHawks, you figure maybe you get some momentum back, but not like that on the first play.
I mean, they've had some chances here in the last few drives. They're just kind of shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, that's the third time they fumbled the ball behind the line of scrimmage now. They really need to clean that up.
Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, 14-0 our score. RedHawks over the Cardinals. Second quarter of action. The scoring was all by the man himself, Colby Quiet, number 32, a 9-yard touchdown run and a 52-yard touchdown run, both obviously in the first quarter, to give the RedHawks the lead, and immediately wrapped up in the backfield by a couple defenders is the Cardinal ball carrier. Not sure if that was the quarterback. No, that's going to be number 25, Lucas Mudge, and going nowhere.
Yeah, this RedHawks team is really amped up out there for this one. We saw in the fumble, they were going nuts on their sideline. I mean, this team's very excited about this game, and you know, on the road here in Stevens is never an easy place to play, especially the conditions here today. And I mean, they're coming out guns a-blazing. This is a long third down again here for Stevens.
Yeah, big third down. They need to get all the way up to the 30-yard line. Of course, they started at the 20 after the touchback, and they're pretty far back there inside the 5-yard line. So third and about at least 25 yards.
I don't think you can pass here. Yeah.
They don't. They hand it off, but he is immediately tackled. I don't know if he even got back to the line of scrimmage. That was McAllister, and this Stevens Cardinals team just has no answers for a great RedHawks line. And like you said, both offensive line and the defensive line looking strong. And like you said, we saw the Cardinals before. It was a big rivalry game. They lost to Newport, but they had been trucking along. Only losses were to Lebanon and Trinity, obviously two top teams in Division III.
And then the upset to Newport, which we saw. And in that game, they didn't play horribly. I mean, they moved the ball well. It's just turnovers and mistakes ended up shooting them in the foot here. And now punting from your own end zone, now you give the RedHawks the ball.
At the 37-yard line.
At the 37, they got a great chance of putting some points on the board and really opening this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, you fumble the ball, like we said last time. They fumble the ball, RedHawks get it. Then you give up the 15-yard personal foul roughing the passer. But then you stop them, 3 straight plays, you make them punt, and then coming out of the quarter break, you fumble it, and you only go backwards from there. So really tough going so far for this Cardinal team, and see if Oberheim can come up with something to lead this RedHawk offense. And the pitch to quiet, which has been a pretty popular move. And this one is wrapped up. A couple defenders there, number 17 and 57, Matthew Jones and Tucker DeRozier, wrapping up the ball carrier.
That's one of the few times we've really seen the Cardinals defense set the edge on the pitch play to the outside, and they got to quiet in the backfield. Nicely done there.
This game is being brought to you by Top Stitch Embroidery, the best for your team and so much more. Top Stitch works with businesses and schools marketing with custom t-shirts and embroidery for more than 20 years. Second down and long, and the handoff up the middle, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage and a few yards on the run play.
So Stevens is starting to get in a little bit of a rhythm on defense here. They really need their offense to pick it up to get back in this thing, but last drive they forced a punt. Now we got third and long. Huge play here for Stevens, as we probably could assume this is 4-down territory where they have the ball here at the 37. 2.
Yeah, 5 yard. Yeah, 32. We mentioned this the last game. The no yard markers on the field are on our side. They're only on the far side. So, they're the 32, and handoff here, blazing along the right side, number 24, Jack Morrill, and he is going to go almost into the end zone. He's going to be inside the 5, and a first down for the RedHawks.
And the reason that play was successful, it was so much different than all their other runs. I mean, they've either kind of been doing pitch sweeps one way or the other, or dives up the middle with their fullback, and this time they got a little clever and did a reverse play, and the C's just parted, and Stevens is having a hard enough time stopping those dives up the middle and stuff. They kind of have to really focus on that, and it really opened things up, and now RedHawks in prime touchdown real estate.
Yeah, the RedHawks with the chance here, and the handoff up the middle. That's number 18, Dylan Barrett. He's in the end zone, and a 3-yard touchdown run for the RedHawks. So they go up 20-0.
Dylan Barrett.
7:51 to play here in the second quarter. Number 18, Barrett, with a 3-yard dive.
This next drive by Stevens is going to be a real indicator of how the rest of this game goes. I mean, being down 3 scores this quickly, I mean, it's easy. The game, I mean, it does mean a lot. It only has to do with, 5th, 6th seed maybe, possibly the 4th seed, depending on, Monadnock upset. But, they need to come out and show something here, or, they could be giving up.
So it's 20-0, 7:51 to play before halftime. We'll take a break. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. 7:51 to play here in the second quarter. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby. As the RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0, and that kick along the sidelines, waited a little too long to grab it. Alex Taylor did, but luckily Stevens Cardinals do get it.
Yeah, that's dangerous with it bouncing around like that, and the RedHawks running down the field. They could obviously recover that and take possession where they pick it up. So, fortunate break that the Stevens Cardinals eventually did get to that. What we need to see here from Stevens is just no negative plays.
Right.
Just stay moving forward. Whether you get the first down or whether you get a touchdown points on the board, who cares? Let's just get no negative plays, no turnovers, no fumbles, nothing. Stevens needs to clean up their offense here heading into the playoffs.
And we saw it earlier where they got the nice pass to McAllister, and they had started moving the ball, then they fumble it. So they've always kind of gone, one step forward and then 2 steps back, as we see McAllister here shedding a defender, and then he'll get wrapped up by a couple more, but not before he gets about 12 yards and a first down.
Yeah, no give up in that kid. I mean, he is a force out there for Stevens, and they haven't really been able to utilize that too much tonight, but let's keep this going if you're Stevens. Again, no negative plays.
Right, and that was registered as an 11-yard gain, so the ball spotted on the 34-yard line. Clock moving, 7:30 to play here in quarter number 1. Cardinals find themselves in a 20-point hole, and that one is going to go for nothing. The direct snap to McAllister
on the carry.
Back to the line of scrimmage, and that'll bring up second down and 10.
Tyler Allen, Vincent Waddell on the tackle.
So wind gusts here. As you mentioned, Scott, we're having at least 8 to 10 sustained miles an hour on the wind, and then the gusts have picked up.
Yeah, certainly gusting higher than that, and it just did in my face right there, which I can't feel right now. So it's definitely going to be brutal out there on the field for these football players.
So if you are watching us on Facebook, nice and warm, thanks for tuning in. And if you are the Stevens Cardinals, Owen Taylor, he'd love to get something going here. Again, the direct snap to McAllister, then he hands it off to Taylor, and a wide open Alex Taylor catches it along the sidelines before he's pushed out of bounds. And there's a play. Paul Silva went to the back of the playbook, and that one worked perfectly.
Sort of a flea flicker trickery from brother to brother, and he hit him for a huge gain. That's exactly what this team needs. A little bit of a spark, a little bit of life. They're looking a little too cold down there on the sideline. They need some spark, some flame down there.
And, I mean, as you mentioned, not only was the flea flicker, first it was a direct snap to McAllister, then he pitches it back to Taylor, and then, like you mentioned, to his brother Alex Taylor, a senior here, one of many seniors on this squad that will be graduating this year, and as we talked about, probably their final home football game in the season. Unless things happen and a couple upsets, they could be home for the semifinals. And that snap is fumbled, and it looks like the RedHawks have it.
Here we go again.
They have it.
Here we go again.
And the RedHawks do take over. So again, after a big explosive play by the Cardinals, RedHawks take over. And for the RedHawks, that's a great way to change the momentum. If you're the Cardinals, you just got to... You're left wondering what.
If you're the RedHawks, you don't really have to do anything. I mean, the snap to center to key quarterback exchange is just not working well. That's the fourth fumble this game that's happened behind the line of scrimmage already for Stevens, and we're not even to halftime yet.
So we'll see if the defense can continue. They have held the RedHawks to a couple punts the last two of the last three possessions. Obviously, the touchdown last possession, and the gain up the middle. 6-7 yards.
Yeah, Stevens' defense, I mean, they're having a little bit of trouble stopping the run, but you can't put it on them right now. You can't fumble and that many penalties on offense and expect to be in the game.
And a flag comes in late on the play. The tackle, I think, got a little rough, and the forward progress and momentum was stopped, and the whistle blew, but I think a little bit of extra tackling there from the Cardinals, and that is the call. Personal foul against Stevens. Another 15 yards added on top, and that's the thing.
Yeah, well,
you got to keep your emotions in check.
This is exactly what I was worried about when it was 14-0. Stevens maybe kind of losing their cool, checking out a little bit here if it gets a little out of hand, and now we got 20-0. They just turn it over again. The RedHawks, now with the benefit of the penalty, have the ball all the way up to midfield. So Cardinals really need to regain focus.
Yeah, the Cardinals don't really need to help this RedHawks team out. They're hot, and they can move the ball themselves, as you see there. The dive forward, number
32 on the play.
32, I believe that was quiet there on a couple yard gain. That'll bring up second down and 8 from midfield, ball right on the 50-yard line. Watch our Yankee Chronicle every week on this station at 8 p.m. on Saturdays, followed by Wicked Yankee. If you miss any of our local programs on our 3 YCN network stations, you can always watch them anytime on our website at ycnnow.com. Second down and 8. 5:20 to play here. RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0 in the second quarter, and a bruising run by Quiet, just shedding would-be tacklers and spinning to almost get the first down.
I hate to tell you how to do your job, but bruising's not the word you should be using there. A loud run by Quiet. A loud run, Jeremy. Another loud run by him. He's had a few this game.
He's had a number of them, including the 52-yard touchdown run. If you're just joining us, he opened the scoring with a 9-yard touchdown run and then followed up with a 52-yard touchdown run. The third touchdown scored by Dylan Barrett, 3-yarder. Missed extra point on that last one, so that's why we sit at 20-0, and a little offsides penalty coming up against the Cardinals. 4:38 to play. Another mental mistake on this Stevens squad.
And credit to the RedHawks, too. I mean, they're keeping their foot on the gas pedal. They know they got their opponent on the ropes, and they're not letting up here. They're going to try to finish them as soon as they can. And have a nice, quiet, easy second half. Maybe get some backups in and get started some rest going into the playoffs here. That's what they're thinking. Stevens has got to really change this. I mean, they're a playoff team as well. These are two playoff teams, so you don't want to give any. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs if you're Stevens, no matter what seed you are. So they need to keep fighting.
Jack Morrow on the carry, off to the left side, a little too wide there, and as he tries to cut it upfield, he slips, and that'll be a loss of a handful of yards, bring up second down. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Mascoma Savings Bank, mutually owned with no shareholders to please. If you want your local game, event, parade, or concert televised into YCN's over 300,000 households, contact us at info@ycnnow.com. Second down and long here, as dropping back to pass and completing to Barrett, and then scampering, and then couple flags coming in.
Overheim's pass complete to number 18.
Didn't quite get up to the first
Barrett.
Down marker. Maybe got
Flag on the play.
15 yards back, but 2 flags coming in.
And where these were thrown, they could be anything.
And I think, now I'm not sure, but I think one of them could have been the hurdling, because I don't think you're allowed to do that
Flag in
in
the back on the RedHawks.
the high school, but I'm not sure. There were 2 flags, and they only signaled 1 block in the back, so maybe that other one is nothing.
It was a nicely designed screen pass there on long yardage there, and unfortunately it's going to be coming back here.
Yeah, Dylan Barrett made a nice catch and run after catching it right about the line of scrimmage. He was able to scamper forward. So just discussing with the Cardinals what they want to do, and obviously they would accept the penalty. And the refs will mark it off here and bring up second down, repeat of second down, and this time it'll be spotted at about the 48-yard line, just about at the 47-yard line. Second down and long. They've got to get about to the 28, so get about second and 20. And dropping back to pass, and he is hit immediately. Mike Oberheim gets sacked by number 57, Tucker DeRozier.
Yeah, nice job by DeRozier fighting through. Oberheim, I mean, he had time there.
He did.
You can't blame that one on the offensive line. He had a pump fake there. He had a throw he wanted to make, couldn't quite pull the trigger. Tried to wait a little longer to get his man a little further downfield, and he waited a little too long there.
Clock moving inside, 3 minutes to play. Our score, 20-0. RedHawks leading the Cardinals in this second quarter, where the Cardinals have really not been able to get anything going. Every time they have a big play, they have a negative play or a turnover, and the RedHawks, the opposite. They've been able to really get some big chunk plays and keep the momentum going, as we see Quiet catching the screen pass out of the backfield, and he's going to run, just navigating that secondary perfectly, almost picking up the first down.
He doesn't get the first down, but I mean, that was 3rd and 20, what?
Third and a lot.
3rd and 24.
And
it brings it all the way to 4th and short, and now you're in a situation where the RedHawks, you got to go for it. I mean, there's no sense of punting here. You're too far down.
Yeah, you're at the 31-yard line, and you only have to get about 3 yards, so it'll bring up 4th down and maybe 3, as we've got a minute 54 to play, and a timeout on the field. We'll take one as well.
Timeout, RedHawks.
RedHawks leading 20-0 over the Cardinals. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Pick it up here as we are out of the timeout, and it'll be a first down, maybe. It looks like, I couldn't tell if they spotted it in far enough where the marker is, but they did say a first down, and that's where it'll be spotted at the 25-yard line. Once again, kind of hard to see the yard lines. But yeah, as you were saying, Scott, this could be a big stamp if you're the RedHawks.
Yeah, my point was, I mean, if Stevens lets a first down go there, which they did, they're clearly in trouble here. I mean, the best case scenario is that it's 20-0 now going into the half. So, I mean, they're really, it's going to hurt a lot giving up that first down.
And a little bit of extracurricular activities out on the sidelines. It looked like the ref was looking to
Flag on the play.
Reach for his flag, and he does throw his flag. Couldn't see it from our vantage point, but the public address announcer does throw the flag, and Not sure who it was or if it's going to be, there's two flags out. I guess they could be kind of an offsetting, and at this point, it'll be moot because it was after the play. So we'll see what the call is. Maybe a gain of 5 yards, which would be second down and 5, but we'll see what the penalties are. 20-0 our score. The Hopkinton Hillsboro-Deering RedHawks lead the Stevens Cardinals. 1:26 to play in quarter number 2. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby here on a chilly November evening to wrap up the regular season of New Hampshire Division III football. And we mentioned at the beginning, Scott, the winner of this game, although they might not have a home game, they could still have a more favorable matchup going up against possibly Monadnock versus one of the top 3 teams, which would be Trinity, Campbell, or Lebanon Raiders.
Yeah, and even more so guaranteed than that, the loser of this team we know is the 6th seed, and they're going to have to go against one of those top 3 teams. So, winning this game is very important, and the RedHawks are certainly coming out with some urgency. And they're very excited and want to score here.
So, offsetting fouls.
We do get offsetting fouls.
Yeah, offsetting fouls, and I believe somebody has been ejected. And that is going to be number 24 for the RedHawks, Jack Morrill.
That's a tough call there. He's had some good plays for them. He had a kick, I think.
So they both got the penalties, so they're basically offsetting, but the more egregious penalty is warranted for a kick it out, basically. He's thrown out of this
when the play's
game.
dead, you can't go kicking your leg around. You're going to get ejected. And I mean, obviously, they were offsetting penalties. Both people were guilty. But when you start throwing kicks or punches, that warrants an automatic ejection. And that's what we see there. And he's been a big part of their offense so far. And, that could hurt him a little bit.
Sophomore, who will no doubt be back next year. And not sure about the rules in high school, but I wouldn't be surprised if he misses next week's game with an ejection. Not sure about that one. Well, timeout on the field. 1:26 to play. We'll take a break as well. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. This football coverage is being brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer, and by Mascoma Savings Bank, mutually owned with no shareholders to please. Let them know that you like having our coverage on Facebook. As always, we appreciate all you tuning in to Facebook as we sit here 20-0, 1:26 to play in the second quarter. RedHawks with the lead.
Yeah, that timeout, I think, probably was just to cool their offense down a little bit after all the emotions there in that previous play.
Yeah, exactly, as they want to draw something up, and that's not really a surprise. They get it to quiet, and he's able to get the first down, and at this point it's score with as little time left as possible and get to this locker room with a 27-point lead, or maybe 28.
First and 10 RedHawks from the 13-yard line.
So first and 10, they're going to say. Ball is at the 14-yard line. RedHawks trying to punch another one in. This one will go to the air and incomplete. The pass was intended for number 84, Jack Horn, the senior tight end. Just hit his hand and fell incomplete.
Considering the amount of running they've been doing, Stevens did a nice job staying home there and actually had nice coverage on the play. He didn't really have anywhere to throw the ball. So good job there by the Stevens Cardinals staying pat.
So if you're the RedHawks, you're looking at second down and 10 from the 13, 58 seconds to play. They look to increase their lead, and if you are the Stevens Cardinals, this would be a huge momentum swing if you can get a stop here, and even if you hold them to only a field goal, you get the ball coming out of the locker room in the second half as they hand off to Quiet, moving the pile
Colby
inside the 5-yard line. That'll bring up third down and maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, unfortunately for Stevens, they're facing Colby Quiet, who has just been a wrecking ball out there today. And
timeout RedHawks.
now we got 3rd and short here, and timeout by the RedHawks.
43.6 seconds to go. RedHawks opened up the scoring in the first quarter, 6:26 to play. They had a 9-yard touchdown run by Colby Quiet. The extra point made it 7-0, and then just 3 minutes later, they had the 52-yard touchdown run by Colby Quiet. Extra point as well there, made it 14-0. And then after a big turnover and somewhat of a short field, the RedHawks were able to add a third touchdown. This was number 18, Dylan Barrett. And then the extra point missed, so that's why we sit at 20-0. So really it's been all RedHawks. Cardinals have struggled both offensively and defensively. Defense has played a little bit better later in this first half.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown some potential. It's just their offense is moving the ball backwards every time they have it. And, other than a few big plays, but right after these big plays, they turn the ball over. So, the defense is going to have to, put together some good stops here. If I'm the RedHawks, I'm going to quiet here twice in a row, short yardage here, and see what you get. If you turn the ball over on downs, so be it. Stevens isn't going to be able to go the distance down the field to put any points on the board. So
third down and short 2, and that handoff is up the middle. Not going to be a touchdown, but it looks like it's enough for a first down. Clock moving, though. They'll stop the clock to reset. And it is a first down.
I mean, you're not too worried about the clock moving if you're the RedHawks.
Right.
You can still get a couple plays off, even if you did a quick pass play or something here. The clock is on their side right now, even without timeouts.
And even if you do have some time left, you just know that you've been able to stop this Cardinal offense as we see the handoff up the middle, and it's going to be second down. Clock continuing to move.
They do have to set up quick here. They got enough time. Just keep their composure here, get the ball lined up, and get another play off.
And this one will be kept by the quarterback, Mike Oberheim. And he is stopped.
I thought he might spike it there and set up another play, but he decided to try to keep it himself. And we got more extracurricular activities on the field.
So a flag is how we're going to end this half after a nice defensive stop by the Cardinals.
Big play by them. I mean, obviously, I think the RedHawks kind of did the right play calling, just run the ball, make sure that Stevens isn't going to get the ball back and score. But when it came down to it with the ball that short, I think the RedHawks needed to spike it there and take their time and pick a play.
So offsetting personal fouls. No one's ejected on this one. So at the half, the Cardinals and the RedHawks here in Claremont, New Hampshire. The RedHawks lead 20-0. We'll take a break. Come back with some halftime highlights and some analysis. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. Halftime here in Claremont, New Hampshire, where the RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, and Scott, in a game that we thought might be a little bit closer, the RedHawks kind of got out to that early lead, and they really haven't looked back.
I mean, they're just pounding the ball on the ground here. I mean, my guy Colby, not so quiet, is just unstoppable so far, and Stevens has no answer for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, Colby Quiet, as you mentioned, with a 9-yard touchdown run, a 52-yard touchdown run, and then the third touchdown coming from Dylan Barrett, a 3-yard run. And a little disappointing there if you're the RedHawks not scoring right before half.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bizarre. When they came up and did the QB sneak, I thought they should have spiked the ball. If they did that, they would have had time for 2 pass plays, in my opinion. So it was kind of weird clock management. Obviously, Oberheim was very confident he could get in, I would imagine, and that kind of went from there. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. But for Stevens, that was certainly a necessity. They had to stop him there. I mean, it's already 20-0 as it is. So that would have been the nail in the coffin.
And if you are the Stevens Cardinals, as you mentioned, your defense has been playing better. A nice stop there. Mm-hmm. You get the ball at the beginning of the second half, so you might have some opportunity to score. You probably get a score on that first possession.
I would imagine so. I mean, I don't think you're going to shut the RedHawks out, even as well as Stevens' defense has been playing lately, getting a little bit better stopping the run. But, the Stevens team really just needs to string some plays together. I mean, they've had a few big plays, Taylor to Taylor on the little flea flicker there. And then, obviously, Keegan McAllister has shown some flashes that he can break away for some yardage, but it's just turnovers, penalties, mistakes, big negative plays for the Stevens Cardinals offense, and it's kind of just dictated the entire game so far.
Yeah, Coach Paul Silva, he's talking to his team saying this is not how we want to end the regular season. Yes, we're playing next week in the playoffs. Doesn't matter who we're playing, where we're playing, but we don't want to end in front of our home crowd looking like this. Also, a side note, Jack Morrill thrown out of the game on offsetting penalties, but he was the worst and the biggest offender. Yep. He was thrown out.
He was the one that threw a kick, automatic ejection there, and we've seen some plays from him for the RedHawks. running the ball. I think he lines up at receiver, but he had one particular sweep play that he had huge yardage on that he got all the way down to the 3, which led to a score. It's not going to help the RedHawks, that's for sure. I would say it's probably a pretty big loss for them.
So we'll see what happens in the second half. We'll take a break and come back with some first half highlights on the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. Halftime here. Redhawks lead the Cardinals 20-0. Let's take a look at some of the first half highlights. And those are our first half highlights. We'll take a break and come back with the second half kickoff after this on the YCN Game of the Week. You're watching the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters 3-time award-winning YCN Game of the Week. Today we feature the Cardinals of Stevens hosting the RedHawks of Hopkinton Hillsboro-Deering High Schools. The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Top Stitch Embroidery, the best for your team, and so much more. MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948. And Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice, providing independence for patients and peace of mind for families. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist. La Valley Building Supply, 10 retail lumber yards serving New England for over 55 years. Ramontos in Claremont, always fresh, always delicious. Mascoma Savings Bank, with no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in our community. Bubba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, where Bubba wants you to know we're having a lot of fun. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Getting ready for the second half here in Claremont, New Hampshire. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby on the call as the RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0. Both these teams, as we mentioned in the broadcast, sitting at 5-3 right now, tied for fourth place with the Nadnock team, who is down in North Sutton, New Hampshire, facing off against Kearsarge Cougars. And we are underway. Cardinals fumbling the kickoff, picking it up, and then maybe getting a yard or two more, but not much, and that's not the way you want to start it if you're the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, you put the ball in the ground 4 times in the first half and added up to 5 now. But, hey, that one didn't really hurt him too bad. I don't think he was going to get many yards even if he handled it cleanly. So let's not let that one get to them. And
start something positive. Get something going here. You know, you made a big stop, and you can blame it on mismanaged clock by the RedHawks or whatever you want to play it on. But you did come up with that big stop.
If you consider it could have been 27-0. Now, if Stevens comes down and scores here, we suddenly get a 2-score game, and there you go. It's a whole new ball game.
And Taylor dropping back to pass, and he is throwing it just a little short as the receiver, Lucas Mudge, couldn't quite get to this. It'll be incomplete.
Mudge came back for it and dove and tried to make the catch, but it looked like it one-hopped him there. It was a little too short.
So that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Ball is just across the 20-yard line. That's where they took over after the kickoff return, fumbled, but then able to gain back. And a big play here, 2nd down. I like the play call. Be aggressive. Try and get something going. Just got to convert.
Exactly what I was going to say. Coming out, throw the ball in the first play.
And here we see the direct snap to McAllister. He sheds one tackler. He's off to the races along the left side. A big first down at the 40-yard line.
So they're bringing out some plays deep from within the playbook here. And, you know, this is what they need to do. I mean, their biggest play in the first half was that direct halfback snap, flea flicker from Taylor to Taylor.
Right.
And, you know, unfortunately, there's a turnover in the very next play. But, you know, we saw in the Newport game, which they eventually lost, they had some big plays downfield too, big chunk plays on sort of trick plays. I mean, they work for the Stevens team. I mean, that was a clever play design. I've never seen a halfback direct snap flea flicker before.
Right.
So, I mean, let's see some more of that here in the second half.
And again, the direct snap to Matthew Jones, number 17. And so clearly that's what Coach Paul Silva is doing, and he has told his team and his play callers, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come out, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be creative, and we have nothing to lose at this point. We're making the playoffs, and it doesn't really matter. We just, like I said at halftime, we don't want to get embarrassed here at our home field.
It's the last home game for the seniors, most likely, right? I mean, you tell them exactly. You're going to be the 6th seed, worst case scenario here. You know, it's 20-0. If we make some mistakes, who cares?
Right.
You know, we're probably not going to win. Let's go out, have some fun, and make some plays.
And this one will be up the middle, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe gains a yard on the ball carrier, and that's McAllister, Keegan McAllister,
on the carry.
the senior.
Half a yard on the play. Then we got 3rd and about a half a yard.
Bring up 3rd down and maybe not even a yard.
So, already just a minute and a half here into the third quarter, though. This is one of Stevens' most successful drives.
Right, yes, it certainly is. And here's, once again, where you're going to come up with something creative but not too crazy. Obviously, you don't want to be fumbling the ball or turning it over here. But sometimes that QB sneak might not be enough if you don't have it, because that defensive line for the RedHawks has really been very strong. So we'll see what they come up with here on 3rd and short. And the handoff up the middle, and immediately tackled is Jones.
That's exactly what they did. They tried to attack right directly up the middle, and that's where the RedHawks' strength has been. I mean, that's where a lot of the big runs from Quiet have come on the other end, is just straight up the gut there. And, you know, now we got a 4th and short. Stevens obviously going to have to go for it here, and now they're really going to have to try to mix things up.
Yeah, 4th and short. The ball's at the 49-yard line. They just barely need to get to midfield to get the first down. And they got to come up with something here. And once again, you don't really want to run it in to that big, strong defensive line. There's 5 of them right there. There's 2 more coming on. There's basically 8 guys in the box. You cannot go right up the middle here. McAllister's going to take it off the left side. He's got a hole, and he's got the first down. So nice play call there by the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's a little better. I mean, when you got that short to go, use the speed advantage of McAllister. And not only speed advantage, but he's a strong guy and hard to bring down. So getting him out there, even 2-on-1, is going to be an advantage for McAllister with that shorter yardage.
And a lot of times, you know, we do see the QB sneak, and it's a good play when you need to pick up a yard or 2. But if you've got 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, you have no gap to go in.
Correct.
And it's not a good play
with
call.
Linebackers behind those 5 guys kind of spying the QB. So, it
works both ways.
It does. You almost have to call 2 plays there. You tell your QB, call the sneak if you can, and if not, mix it up here. And more, here's some trickery.
Yeah, McAllister dropping back to pass. That one is short. Looking for Alex Taylor. He's lucky he wasn't sacked, and then lucky he wasn't intercepted. Didn't quite go the way they planned, but you got to give him credit for being aggressive.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always going to be interesting when a running back or receiver, somebody that's not used to throwing the ball, rolls out and tries to throw the ball when the receivers are covered, which they were. The RedHawks did a nice job there sticking with the people downfield, and McAllister had to try to make a throw. And again, as a non-quarterback, it's a difficult thing to do. So fortunately for Stevens, that was not picked off.
2nd down and 10. Ball sits at just about the 48-yard line of the RedHawks, where they are looking to get a stop. Cardinals on the opening possession of the first half, and this is a double handoff, and it ends up with McAllister, and he goes off the left side. He's going to get about 8 yards before he's tackled at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, and like we mentioned about 4 plays ago, they were digging deep into the playbook here, and now you see a reverse play here to McAllister, finding creative ways to get him space, finding creative ways to open things up for this offense.
And the way that handoff really went, it was that reverse, but it wasn't dragged out for so long where you get a chance for a fumble or the defense to pick it up. It was kind of a quick handoff, back handoff to the other guy, and just a little bit of a wrinkle in the offense.
Yeah, and it was very smartly designed. I mean, you saw McAllister kind of line up more as like a tight end, so when it goes to the running back and the handoff is made from the running back to McAllister, it's going to be a lot quicker than a receiver coming all the way from the outside.
And this time Taylor's going to drop back, and this ball is on the ground, and it looks like it's going to be Red Hawk football, and that is what it will be. The Redhawks pick it up off the ground. The sack and the fumble on Owen Taylor, and the Redhawks will take over. 7:52 to play in the 3rd quarter. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. 7:52 to play here in the 3rd quarter. A crazy turn of events as the Cardinals were driving nicely and then fumbled, turned it over. Once again, Scott, what we dealt with all the first half from the Cardinals side.
I'm not even going to call it crazy at this point. We should call it expected. I mean, they start to get something going. They're doing some nice trick plays, moving the ball downfield, and then they do what we should expect them to do at this point, which is, unfortunately, to turn the ball over. It's happened time and time again.
It has happened 4 or 5 times in that first half, and then once again there to start the second half.
They had a great opportunity to make it 2 scores, and just, it didn't work out. Unfortunately, Taylor strip sacked in the backfield, and the RedHawks pounced.
So it'll bring up 2nd down and 5 after the first down run. Now a penalty on the first down play, false start. That'll move back 5 yards, and it'll bring up replay of 2nd down and 11. For over 11 years, Bubba's Bar and Grill has been providing hungry patrons with high-quality food and friendly service with a mission of delivering a remarkable experience to every visitor. And Bubba likes to remind you, we're having a lot of fun here.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't believe there's a huge gap between these 2 teams talent-wise. If you erase all the fumbles from Stevens, I mean, we have probably a pretty close football game here.
Yeah, you just had a couple big plays and a couple big runs, but then you're right, on the Cardinals side, they've had a lot of big plays themselves, or a number of them just been, negative plays that follow that. As we see the run here, Oberheim keeps it himself, and he's going to get back the penalty yardage.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him run a lot so far out of the quarterback position, but he definitely showed some shiftiness there and got a solid gain.
They'll bring up 3rd down and about 4. Clock moving inside 6:30 to play. The Cardinals trail 20-0.
2nd and 4.
RedHawks opening up a quick 2-score lead and then adding a 3rd touchdown in that first half before getting stopped at the goal line to end the first half. They went into the locker room 20-0, and this is their first possession of the second half. And that handoff up the middle and quiet with a big run. Another first down for the RedHawks.
Yeah, you mentioned the time, and, we're already halfway through this 3rd quarter. Stevens started with the ball, and they're the ones that chewed up most of the clock too before their turnover. So, I mean, that turnover really sets them back here.
And an injury on the field. It looks like number 18, Dylan Barrett, will limp off. It looks like he is going to sit down on the bench. Hopefully everything's okay. That'll be 1st down and 10 for the RedHawks. Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. We will choose the team member that had the greatest impact on today's game. So first down and 10. Ball's at the 41-yard line of the Cardinals. As we mentioned, the first drive of the second half for the RedHawks. Scoring on 3 of their drives in the first half. Oberheim with the man in motion and the handoff. That one's to number 33, Elijah Tanuvasa.
This is the first time we've seen the freshman touch the ball today.
33.
I mean, with the way the game's going here, we might start to see guys like him get a little more touches and a little more experience, especially last game of the regular season.
Gain of 1 on the play.
Gain of 1 yard, second down and 9. We approach 5 minutes to play in a very quick-moving third quarter. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Ramonto's Brick Oven Pizza and so much more in Claremont. Always fresh, always delicious. In addition to airing on our 3 TV stations, all YCN games are posted at ycnnow.com. Second down and 9, and that one off the right side, pushing to Pyle. Looked like he might have been tackled. Was quiet, but he is able to gain 3-4 more yards and bring up third down.
I mean, we've said his name a lot. I'm super impressed with this kid. We can't expect the play to end anytime he has the ball. I mean, the Pyle just keeps moving forward. He's big, strong, fast, and having a heck of a game here tonight.
So they'll bring up third down, and looks like about 5 yards to go. 4:15 to play. RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0 here in the third quarter. Claremont, New Hampshire. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby on the call. Under the lights here on a Friday night. And that little pass too quiet, the screen pass, he drags defender for a handful of yards, but a nice tackle by the Cardinals, and that'll bring up fourth down now, and you got to imagine be going for it if you're the RedHawks.
I would probably go for it here. I would say it's a 50-50. I mean, with the score being 20-0, you could pin the Stevens team back deep here. But, your offense has been rolling pretty good here, and they've been pretty confident and done this a few times already going for it on fourth down. So I think we'll likely see that again.
So they'll bring up fourth, and it looks like they'll mark it at the 33-yard line, between the 32 and 33, and they have to get to about the 31-yard line for the first down. And that one will be enough for the first down.
See, unlike what we see with Stevens earlier, where they just tried to pound it up the middle, that quarterback sneak was perfect. I mean, it was 4th and 2. And you've seen a lot of action from their backfield, inside, outside, etc. Stevens doesn't have the luxury of just plug in the middle like the RedHawks did, and the RedHawks took advantage with a quick snap and QB sneak for the first down. 1st and 10. Clock moving inside 3 minutes. RedHawks taking their time. They're really in no rush. Up 3 scores. They put one in here, go up 4 scores to start the fourth quarter. You got to imagine this game would be put away. And that handoff up the middle, number 7, Devin Barrett, gets the handoff, and he gains a handful of yards on first down, almost 5 yards. A big push. It looked like it was just a little, dive up the middle, and lo and behold, he picks up 5 yards. I mean, there's absolutely nothing to it. I mean, it's as simple as it gets. It's one of the oldest, simplest plays in football, and, that just goes to show you the offensive line is playing outstanding here tonight.
Today's game is being brought to you in part by Echo Communications. Call them for all your printing needs. Our YCN game next week will feature a quarterfinal matchup in the New Hampshire playoffs, always premiering Sundays at noon. Second down play. They're finally going to throw the ball to the big tight end, and defended by number 25. That's going to be a penalty on Lucas Mudge. Maybe a pass interference, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's certainly undersized. He was inside on the play. He had position there, but there was certainly contact. I think that probably could have gone either way.
Yeah, it seemed like there was contact, but it was more because the ball was underthrown, and it was the tight end who was reaching over, like you said, the very small DB.
Yeah, completely undersized compared to the man he was covering, but it looks like the refs are huddling up.
Yeah.
I think they kind of think it might go either way, and honestly, if I'm the refs, I'm just picking up the flag here.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm saying no call if I'm the refs here. And
they're actually going to call it offensive.
Wow, so they will march it back And it will be offensive pass interference. That was probably number 84, Jack Horn, the tight end.
I mean, that makes more sense to me than defensive. I mean, Mudge was in position. He had the inside position, and, you know, the tight end tried to jump and reach up over him and probably put an arm on his shoulder or something. I mean, there was certainly a lot of contact and hand fighting throughout, but, you know, I would say it's the right call. If I had to pick one, I would have preferred just a no call.
Right, if you're not going to do a no call, you have to call it on the offense, kind of that over-the-back type foul as we see on the basketball court a lot, and we'll be seeing that coming up this winter. We'll be back on the call, going around the state of New Hampshire on the hardwood. Good basketball action, and this one to Barrett. He's able to come down with it, Dylan Barrett, and then picks up almost all of the penalty yardage back and getting his team fired up.
Yeah, I mean, another great screen. Barrett got it. He was wide open with nobody around him. Kind of gives him time to set his feet, look, and see where his blockers are, and then decide his path. And, you know, solid gain there. 3rd and 8 now, and, you know, so he did get all the penalty yardage back and a couple.
Yeah, so 3rd down and 8. Once again, clock moving here inside 90 seconds to play. Ball spotted at the 26-yard line. That's where the RedHawks will have it. 3rd down and 8. One wide receiver split out wide left to the near side. And drop back to pass to that wide receiver, but it's picked off. Nicely done by Alex Taylor, picking the ball off at the 5-yard line. And the Cardinals come up with a big stop, and that's where they will take over with 1:06 to play in the 3rd quarter. We'll take a break. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. 1:06 to play here in the 3rd quarter off of an interception at the goal line by Alex Taylor. And Scott, what a play was made there by the Cardinal defender.
Yeah, he went up and got it there. The pass kind of went into no man's land for Oberheim. I wonder if his receiver got hung up a little bit and didn't get off his route as quick as he was expected to. The pass, I mean, it looked like it traveled well through the air, but, you know, it turns out not a killer for the RedHawks.
Right. I mean,
it was a 3rd down anyways, and they ended up, you know, pinning them down inside the 5, so it kind of works as a nice punt almost. But, yeah, heck of a play by the Cardinals, and you don't have to worry about the RedHawks going for another 4th down.
And if you're head coach Jay Wood, you do call that play call with that intent. Obviously not, you don't want to throw an interception, but you realize that if it is an interception, you pin them down.
Worst case scenario, I mean, you're pinning them back deep, and you know, you accept that you risk when you go into that play call, and you know.
Pick up on the play enough for Cardinals.
So the Cardinals pick up the 1st down, and they seem to once again be showing a little bit of some signs of life here as we wrap up this 3rd quarter.
That's the unfortunate problem, though. The 3rd quarter is wrapping up here. I mean, Cardinals is going to have to. They're going to have to start getting some big chunk plays here. And you put one up on the board here quickly in the 4th quarter.
All right, that's going to do it for the 3rd quarter. A fast-moving 3rd quarter. The RedHawks lead the Cardinals 20-0. We'll take a break. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. You're watching the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters 3-time award-winning YCN Game of the Week. Today we feature the Cardinals of Stevens hosting the RedHawks of Hopkinton Hillsboro-Deering High Schools. The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Top Stitch Embroidery, the best for your team, and so much more. MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948. And Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice, providing independence for patients and peace of mind for families. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist. La Valley Building Supply, 10 retail lumber yards serving New England for over 55 years. Ramontos in Claremont, always fresh, always delicious. Mascoma Savings Bank, with no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in our community. Bubba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, where Bubba wants you to know we're having a lot of fun. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. Welcome back. 4th quarter of action about to begin, with the RedHawks leading the Cardinals 20-0. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby here, as we are set to begin with Dropping back in the shotgun is Taylor. He is chased out of the pocket and dragged out of bounds, and that's going to be a loss of a couple yards for Owen Taylor, and that's how the fourth quarter starts for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Taylor was trying to extend that play as long as he could, trying to get his receivers open, but once you get over next to the sideline, just throw the ball away. You're out of the pocket. Save yourself the loss on the play.
So, loss of a handful of yards, maybe 5. It looks like.
Loss on the play, then we go 2nd and 15.
2nd down and 15. As Cardinals getting a nice interception on the goal line, trying to move that ball and get in the end zone. And that direct snap to McAllister off to the right side, and he puts his afterburners on, and a nice little run there, getting the sack yardage back and almost to the first down marker.
I mean, it's not really any surprise at this point to see some big runs by McAllister. We've seen a handful here tonight now. It's just they haven't been able to sustain anything consistent.
So we'll see if they can get something going here. It's 3rd down, and it's
12-yard pickup on the
about 3 yards to go. Ball spotted at the 25. They have to get to the 28-yard line for the first down.
And you already got to be thinking about 4-down territory here with the clock under 12 minutes here as we're into the fourth quarter.
So hopefully they pick it up here for the Cardinals, because you don't really want to have to make that decision this deep in your own end. But see what they do there. The handoff up the middle, maybe forward for a yard or two, but not going to be enough for the first down.
So that tough decision is going to come up here. I mean, it is going to be 4th and maybe 1 or 2. And, I don't think Stevens can afford to give the ball back to this Redhawks team.
Yeah, down 3 scores, you got to figure, you got to come up, in this situation. If you can't come up with a play that gains you a yard, doesn't matter if you punt the ball or not.
No, I mean, especially with the way their offense runs. I mean, they put a lot of their game on the ground here.
Right.
I mean, they haven't had too much success through the air. The biggest play was a trick play, which was the flea flicker. So, yeah.
And the direct snap there is swallowed up in the backfield.
I don't think he got it.
And I don't think he's going to get it.
Looks like they lost yardage.
RedHawks will take over.
That RedHawks line.
Again, the defensive line just really, really good. They've been showing it all night long, and the RedHawks will take over. This game is being brought to you by Top Stitch Embroidery, the best for your team, and so much more. Top Stitch works with businesses and schools, marketing with custom t-shirts and embroidery for more than 20 years. So 10:44 to play in this one, and RedHawks of Hopkinton, Hillsboro-Deering on top of the Stevens Cardinals 20-0. And the winner of this game will most likely secure the number 5 seed. And a big gain there by Dylan Barrett.
Dylan Barrett, number 18 on the
big
carry.
First down.
Up by number 25,
another play up the middle, another dive play. Huge explosion there by Barrett. A lot of speed.
14-yard pickup on the play. First down.
Quickly gets 14 yards.
10, from the 11.
So Stevens does give him the ball back here. I mean, the RedHawks, odds are they're going to go on to score in some form or fashion, but you can't blame Stevens for being aggressive there. I mean, with the time left, you're playing to win the game.
Right.
And, if you do punt the ball, the RedHawks, the way they've been running the ball, could eat up a ton of clock and score anyway. So, that was their best chance. So, no fault there, and Stevens going for it on 4th down.
Here we go to Quiet, and he's got a big hole and just barrels over one defender, and Quiet with the 11-yard touchdown run.
My nickname for him, Not So Quiet's not catching on with you, huh?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it will eventually. This kid's a beast out there today.
So after a scoreless third quarter, we get a score here, a minute 56 into the fourth quarter, and that one is again number 32 with the 11-yard touchdown run. And the extra point coming up here, looking to make it 27-0. Plenty of leg, and that one is good. So 27-0, the RedHawks lead the Cardinals. 10:04 left to play. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. 10:04 to play in the fourth quarter. with the RedHawks on top of the Cardinals, 27-0. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, and Scott, once again, big score there. This one was only 11 yards, but Colby Quiet, third touchdown of the night.
Yeah, he's making it easy for my player of the game so far, which is always nice. I don't like tough decisions, so that makes me a little bit at ease. And another thing to point out, the wind has certainly died down here as the game's gone on, which helps me feel a little bit more at ease. So things are looking up.
Watch our Yankee Chronicle every week on this station at 8 p.m. on Saturdays, followed by Wicked Yankee. If you missed any of our local programs on our 3 YCN network stations, you can always watch them anytime on our website at ycnnow.com. So the Cardinals will take over after the kickoff that went out of bounds. It'll be at the 35-yard line. Illegal procedure. Then the Cardinals will take over. 10:04 to play in the fourth quarter. They trail by 4 scores. So
yeah,
need to put one on here.
At this point, you're not even playing to win if you're the Cardinals. You just want to kind of go out and show what you're made out of. I mean, they certainly, like we've mentioned, this game hasn't exactly felt like it's overwhelmingly RedHawks talent-wise. It's just been mistakes for Cardinals holding them back. Let's go put some clean drives together here and get something positive going to the playoffs, which they are going to. So they still have, that to fall back on. So,
yeah, both these teams will be going to the playoffs. They sit at 5-3 coming into the night, and that was tied with Monadnock. So 3 teams tied at 5-3, sitting in the 4th position. So obviously the team that finishes in 4th will host a game, and Monadnock, not sure how they'll do, but if they do win, they would own the tiebreaker, so they'll host a game, and then looks like the RedHawks will finish 5th, and they will play Monadnock most likely next week, and that one is going to be incomplete, intended for Owen Taylor, so they'll go and play each other. Depends on where it will be, most likely this Hopkinton Hillsboro-Deering team versus Monadnock. And then the Stevens team, once again, like you said, they make the playoffs, just having a tougher matchup on the road, either against Campbell, Trinity, or Lebanon.
And none of those 3 schools are teams that they're going to want to play. They're all tough teams. They're going to have to play very crisp, clean, perfect football in order to win. I'm not ruling it out, though.
And obviously we've seen Stevens a couple times. This is the second time we've seen him. That game against Newport, they had some good plays. They also struggled. Tonight they've clearly struggled on some aspects, but they have some talent and they have, a chance. As we see a nice throw deep down the field, and it is bobbled, and that one is a new quarterback, Quentin Bicknell, and it was bobbled, almost intercepted, then almost caught by a second receiver.
Nearly a spectacular catch on the rebound, but
and then a flag on the play.
So we'll see which side this is on.
So it looked like it was Owen Taylor looked like he was the intended target, and then Alex Taylor almost had it on the rebound. In the meantime, he was tapped around by a RedHawk defender, and then it falls incomplete. Ref's just looking to see what the penalty is going to be, and it's going to be on the RedHawks. So it was a holding on the defense, so they'll march that one off from the line of scrimmage, and that'll be a first down for the Cardinals. So a lucky break there for the Cardinals, and get some momentum maybe going here, put something in the end zone.
I mean, that's what it's all about here. Just get a little momentum going, get the ball rolling down the field here.
Inside 9 minutes to play. Bicknell dropping back. He's got an arm on him. He throws a little deep to Alex Taylor. So clearly they've changed up, and they feel that the best strategy to come back is have Bicknell, who seems to have a stronger arm, throw the ball, but you're still having Owen Taylor. He plays wide receiver.
And Bicknell's overthrown a couple on the sideline here, one to each side. He's probably a little excited here. I'm sure he probably doesn't play a ton of QB. As like when we've seen Owen Taylor in the past, he's certainly a very talented QB. So I think he's probably a little antsy here. He's a senior. His last game at home, most likely, and probably a very exciting time for him here.
And it's going to be snapped to McAllister, who will keep it himself. And then the direct snap and the run, maybe about 5 yards. Nice run by McAllister. We've seen that play, and he's had some success with that play.
On the tackle.
Today's game is being brought to you in part by Mascoma Savings Bank, mutually owned with no shareholders to please. If you want your local game, event, parade, or concert televised into YCN's over 300,000 households, contact us at info@ycnnow.com. We'll bring up 3rd down and 5 for the Cardinals. And once again, the direct snap to McAllister. He is not able to shed the defender. A big tackle in the backfield, and that one is number 50, Vincent Waddell, the junior linebacker. Big stop.
So I'll tell you why that play call was a mistake. The ball's on the left hash mark there, and they tried to kick it out wide, and McAllister kind of got near the sideline and just ran out of room.
Right.
If they ran that same play, reverse to the other side, he's got a lot more field, a lot more room to work with, and he can kind of utilize his speed more.
So they'll bring up 4th down, and we know they'll be going for it, I would imagine, here as you're across the 50. And it's, 4th and manageable, 4th and about 6 yards to go. It looks like they have to get to about the 43-yard line. The ball sits at the 48 right now, so 4th and 5. Clock approaching 7 minutes to play. Bicknell in the shotgun. He's got 2 men. And he is going to be throwing it to McAllister on the screen. Completed. Has the 1st down. And then McAllister is tackled at the 35-yard line. Nice play call and nice execution.
There's flags on the play in the backfield, which is unfortunate. I mean, we'll see what happens. But regardless, Bicknell made a heck of a play there. I mean, he was under serious duress, kept his composure, still found his guy McAllister for a big gain, which is a 1st down at least for now.
Right. For now, it could be a 1st down. It could be called back. It could be a late hit, a roughing the passer call after the ball was thrown, as a whole host of defenders were in. And
there's a lot going on in the backfield that play.
So they're signaling to the Stevens sideline and asking if he wants to decline, but the coach was asking, is it a personal foul?
Which would be added on to the end here.
Right, or is it and it is a personal foul variety. So obviously they'll accept the penalty, roughing the passer, and it'll be
roughing the passer.
15 yards added on, and a big 1st down, a big gainer for the Cardinals.
That'll tack on some extra yards, enough for Cardinals.
So this is the furthest downfield the Cardinals have been all game. Here with their backup quarterback, Quentin Bicknell.
Yeah, they've really looked good on this drive where they've been aggressive, started throwing the ball, and you like I said, you still keep Taylor in there as a receiver. He'll line back up as quarterback, but this time in the shotgun. And he's going to drop back to pass. He's got some room. Running for it, he's got the corner, and he is tackled at the 5-yard line with a nice gain by Owen Taylor.
Yeah, it's going back to Taylor there. Bicknell's still on the field, as he's been on the field a lot with this offense. So, I mean, they kind of are doing this thing here where they got both quarterbacks on the field at the same time. And, you see Bicknell coming to the sideline. He got the play here. So I wonder if he's going to be the quarterback or if that's just sort of a decoy. It's kind of a clever little a trick again here from Stevens, which is what we've seen a lot of in the second half. And for the most part, they've worked. It's just, unfortunately, silly turnovers on the simple plays is what's killed them so far.
So before the play gets started is a whistle, and it will be a timeout on the field. So with 6:16 to play and the score 27-0. RedHawks leading the Cardinals in the 4th quarter. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. 6:16 to play in the 4th quarter. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby here in Claremont. 27-0 our score. RedHawks over the Cardinals, and McAllister carries it for a short gain. And Scott, this is the best chance they've had, as you mentioned. First time in the red zone, first time here at the 5-yard line.
I mean, it's really their only chance so far. That last play went to McAllister, who's you'd expect in this situation. He's their bell cow, and a lot of not their typical starting lineup. I mean, we see Owen Taylor on the sideline here, which we haven't really seen all game. It's just a tough game for the kid.
So you got Matthew Jones and McAllister. McAllister will get the snap, and he sneaks it in to the end zone. McAllister and the Cardinals are on the board.
That's good to see for Stevens and McAllister as well. One of their better running backs in their school history, quite frankly, getting a touchdown here in his final game at home.
So 27-6 our score, 5:30 to play in the fourth quarter. The Redhawks now lead the Cardinals after that touchdown, and it had been all Redhawks on the scoreboard up until that point. Now, extra point coming up. Number 13 will be attempting the kick. That's Clayton Wadsworth, the junior. See if he can add on the extra point. High snap, and the kick is blocked, and that will not be good. So with 5:30 to play in the fourth quarter, the Redhawks lead the Cardinals 27-6. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. Final 5:30 to play here in the fourth quarter. Redhawks lead the Cardinals 27-6, and that kickoff is jumped on by Quiet. He slipped there on the short kick and just barely got to it in time.
Yeah, I mean, the ball took a dead stop there on the second bounce, and, Quiet he was looking like he was going to go play it off the hop, and it just died. And fortunately for the Redhawks, Quiet was alert and got on the ball quick.
The YCN scoreboard sponsor is LaValle Building Supply, home improvement and construction from concept to completion. So we've got about 5:28 to play. And the Cardinals looking to get a stop here and put something on the board. Redhawks, we've seen the Redhawks with some long drives. They could kill the clock here with some runs and a couple first downs. And that handoff on the left side maybe gains a couple.
Quiet, the ball carrier.
Colby Quiet, the big player who's really
a
lot of the offense. He opened the scoring with a 9-yard touchdown run to go up 7-0. Followed it up with a 52-yard touchdown run to go up 14-0. And then he added an 11-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter to go up 27-0. In between that was number 18, Dylan Barrett, with a 3-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, Quiet's certainly been their stud so far, and even caught a few screen passes and broke one of those for a big gain as well.
Taking the time that they need, Mike Oberheim, no rush. Just let the clock run down, get a couple first downs if you're the Redhawks, and just get into the playoffs.
Stevens still playing tough here, though. I mean, couple run stuffs. We got a player down.
Yeah, it looks like there's a player down, but he's jumping up, and we'll see if he's going to come off the field. And looks like he's okay. I don't know, maybe it was just a quick little cramp or something. It was number 55, Michael Gasper, but he's okay. Or at least he's walking off the field. Hopefully he's okay.
So yeah, as I was saying, Stevens stuffing the last two runs for the Redhawks. They've really played decent here in the second half. They've only given up 7 points. And it was nice to see him get a little momentum going into the playoffs with the 6 that they put on the board here. Credit to them for not giving up.
Yeah, they've really only been outscored 7-6 in this second half, and obviously the play calling might have been a little bit different. You don't know, the Redhawks team, but still, give credit to the Stevens team. They have really played well in the second half as we see Quiet pushed out of bounds and right into the bench of the Cardinals. That got
taking Coach
Paul Silva. He took a tumble. Been a few years since he was right in the middle of the scrum, I'm sure.
It's one of the biggest hits we've seen tonight.
So that'll be fourth down, and nice job there. Maybe that's third down. They got it marked as third down.
No, I believe they're in the punt formation. That is fourth down, and Stevens will be getting the ball back.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's fourth down, and nice effort there by the Cardinals. A nice punt, kind of a spiral punt, and then takes a big Redhawks bounce, and then it'll be down inside the 30-yard line of the Cardinals. So that's where they'll take over. 3:55 to play. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back, YCN Game of the Week. 3:55 to play in the fourth quarter. 27-6. Redhawks lead the Cardinals. And that run off to the right side, number 17, Matthew Jones.
Jones, the ball carrier. Trials of each on the tackle.
And inside 4 minutes to play with the Cardinals, you're down 27-6. We've seen this a couple times. It was a game in Hartford we saw. They were getting beat by Middlebury Tigers, and they really had struggled. But they kept fighting, kept playing. They got a couple onside kicks and didn't really come close to threatening. But at least it was good to see, at least to get some momentum going to the next game and keep fighting.
Well, and that's super important for Cardinals here because their next game is a playoff game against a very difficult opponent. So getting that momentum and just, getting things working right is huge.
And a fumble here, but picked up by McAllister. He was in the right place at the right time. He sheds one defender, sheds another one, and then he is finally tackled across the 40-yard line. What a break for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I believe that was fumble number 7, if my count is correct, but McAllister just in the right place at the right time, and it just worked out like a nice little draw play. And McAllister, obviously, we've commented, he's got speed and got a big run there.
Yeah, that was quite a fortuitous bounce, and McAllister picked it up, and then not only did he pick it up, he got the first down, then he stepped aside one tackler, and then the second guy had to chase him down, and that was where they chased him down, was about the 37-yard line, and the Cardinals looking to put another score on this thing.
They're trying to trick play, but nowhere to go.
No, Taylor is wrapped up and sacked at the 50-yard line. So a big loss on that one as we're getting close to 2 minutes to play. This Cardinals offense would love to put one in the end zone, but time's running out.
Yeah, and Tyler Allen was just all over that play in the backfield. He didn't fall for the fake to McAllister. It went back to Owen Taylor, and Allen was just all over him. The big loss on the sack.
So second down and long here. Ball's at the 50. They have to get it to about the 27-yard line, so 23 yards to get the first down. Taylor is hit as he throws. He is absolutely lit up in the backfield.
Yeah, it's 2 big hits in a row there, and that one, obviously with a big hit, the pass fell way short of McAllister, and we've got a big third down here. And by big third down, I mean like huge, like third and 23 we got.
We already got the calculator out. It's third and 23. Figured that out. And if you're the Cardinals, you got 2 downs to try and pick it up, and $1:46 to play. If you do turn it over, it's just going to be a few kneel downs for the RedHawks, and they will look to go to the playoffs at 6-3, and the Cardinals will fall to 5-4 if the score holds. McAllister takes the direct snap, once again off to the right side, but as you mentioned, he's running to the right side with the ball on the left side, so maybe somebody was listening to you.
Exactly. Anytime you're doing a big sweep play outside, it just makes sense to go to the opposite side of the hash marks you're on. You just have so much more lateral field to work with, and you don't kind of handcuff yourself on the sideline like we saw earlier. So a decent pick up there, but it's still going to be fourth and way long here.
Yeah, they're at the 42.
15 we got.
Yeah, so they still have to get 15 yards, and we're approaching a minute to play. So, like we mentioned, if they don't get this first down, it's going to be turned over on downs to the RedHawks, and then they'll just be able to kneel it down. Taylor's going to drop back to pass, pump fake, and he's looking for Alex Taylor, his brother, and that one is incomplete. Defended on the play, John Jacobson. And Taylor to Taylor falls incomplete. RedHawks take over, 53 seconds to play. They lead 27-6.
Which should be our final, I believe.
I've got to imagine.
The last play there, Taylor the ball didn't come out clean. The defender, it went right through his hands. I don't know if that was intentional because if he picked it up, it didn't matter either way. But that wobbler ended up kind of skirting through 4 different guys there, and here we are on a cold, frigid night, 52 seconds left and a few knees away.
So the RedHawks lead 27-6, 53 seconds to play here in the game. And the kneel down there is number 1, Mike Oberheim. As we mentioned, the RedHawks will improve to 6-3. Cardinals will fall to 5-4. They will both be going to the playoffs, just depending on the matchups and the venue. But these teams will close out the regular season tonight. Obviously, if you are the RedHawks, it's a good note. It's a big win on the road right before the playoffs. If it's the Cardinals, it's a tough loss on senior night in front of your home fans. But you've got the playoffs next week, and hey, that's all that matters. You're in. All you got to do is win next week.
That's right. And they ended with their dignity with a stout defensive finish to the game, and you know, a good touchdown drive and another drive that fell just a little short. So, you know, good job for the Cardinals for hanging in there, but heck of a game for the RedHawks.
So that's the final score, 27-6. We'll take a break, come back with post-game wrap-up and the HR Club Kearsarge Heating turning up the heat player of the game. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back. Final score here, 27-6. Jeremy Stout, Scott Quimby, and Scott first after this game's over. First, let's get to the HR Club Kearsarge Heating turning up the heat player of the game. Pretty easy decision. Who you got?
I mean, it was my guy Colby, not so quiet today. I mean, he was rumbling and stumbling and, you know, running through defenders and had a couple big scores. You know, easy call in this one. Congratulations, Mr. Quiet.
All right, so that final score, 27-6. That will do it for regular season football here from YCN. As we mentioned, the RedHawks extend their record to 6-3. The Cardinals fall to 5-4. Thanks to everyone who has tuned in throughout the regular season. For Scott Quimby, I'm Jeremy Stout. Thanks for watching the YCN Game of the Week.